You know, it would probably help you if I hit that intro music at the right time. There we go. Instead of doing my voice exercises.
This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Is it still good? It is morning in Tuscaloosa. It is the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. You guys are hanging out with us in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. I appreciate everybody watching us. We're going to have a lot of fun today as we have a huge show. Massive show. Lots of two big topics and one little one to get into today, and we cannot wait to do it with you guys on the Bama Central YouTube channel, on the Bama Central Facebook page. We can't wait to do it with you on our own Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon. Subscribe, rate, review the show. Find it on Theo's Twitter at Theo Fernandez __ on my own Twitter at Joe Gaither 6. We're going to have a lot of fun. Well, as much fun as we can, talking about the awful performance in the SEC championship game. Alabama losing to Georgia 28-7. Really not getting on the scoreboard. Was that the fourth quarter or was it late third? It was late third.
Quarter.
Oh, my gosh. He didn't get it on the scoreboard till late in the game, and Georgia basically dominated you up front, out-physicaled you in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the college football playoff selection on Sunday. Alabama getting into the field, number 9, going to number 8, Oklahoma. A little rematch action out in Norman. Alabama gets to go back to where their season ended last year and see if they can survive one more week and move on to the next round of the college football playoffs. I think it was very juicy that the college football playoff committee sent us out to Norman for a rematch. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll talk about that as well. And then we will get into Alabama basketball's absolute destruction of UTSA. Sorry, Austin Clonch, former Alabama assistant coach. 17 points in the first half is not going to cut it for your team. Alabama playing as the walking wounded with their basketball team, winning 97-55, 97-55 against UTSA yesterday in Coleman Coliseum. All of 5 people were in attendance. So we'll talk about all 3 of those big topics today. We'll also take your voicemails. We got a lot of voicemails reacting to Alabama's football debacle on Saturday. Not really a very good performance at all. A lot of reactions to that. We got a couple reactions, I think, to the college football playoff selection committee, and we got a couple reactions to the basketball game right there as well. So you can call the voicemail line if you want to talk to us at 205-462-7340, extension 800. We'll play your voicemail and make it a part of the show. We appreciate everybody who did call, and you guys make the show go round. We appreciate everybody sharing the show on their social media, sending it to their friends, and let's get right into it, Theo Fernandez. We're proudly presented by Purple Turtle Roofing. You can call Purple Turtle Roofing at 877-787-6635. They'll come to your roof and take care of any inspection that you need. Make sure that your roof is ready to go for the winter season. The terrible weather, kind of cruddy weather today in Tuscaloosa. I guess it's matching the vibes of not being here with the. I mean, Georgia went home with the SEC championship. Alabama empty-handed, but the season officially not over. So call Purple Turtle Roofing. They'll come check out your roof. Make sure you're ready for the life's next storm. We had a storm this past weekend. We'll have another storm again, maybe next Friday as Alabama plays Oklahoma. We'll see. Call Purple Turtle Roofing at 877-787-6635 for your free roof inspection today. With that, like I said, follow Theo Fernandez at Theo Fernandez _. Good morning, sir. How we doing?
I'm doing great, Joe. Fresh off a weekend of anchoring at WVUA. Love getting that opportunity. So
I heard your funny joke.
What funny joke was that?
Oh, you said what funny joke? Like there were many, like there were multiple.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not watching the whole show, you're not getting all the jokes.
Oh, okay. I saw the gingerbread man.
Talking.
Yeah, I saw the gingerbread man comment. Lives on Drury Lane. Does
I'm pretty sure that's the Muffin Man.
That's right.
The Muffin Man lives on Drury Lane, but the gingerbread man should have been in the backfield for Alabama last week.
Running for Alabama.
No, that's I'm trying to find content to put on my reel, show some personality. So they were talking about gingerbread houses. I'm the sports guy. got to tie it in somehow.
There
right?
you go. There you go. You can you use any of this stuff on your reels?
Yeah, so I'm gonna have a segment for like podcasts.
All right.
I'm applying Jim Nance Award for broadcasting, given to the best students. I'm applying, trying to get some recognition there. We're gonna find out in a couple months.
Does he just send out one of his ties? That's like the Jim Nance thing.
I'd rather have that than any trophy they could give me. Right?
Wear his tie on the next broadcast.
That's the best badge of honor right there.
Absolutely. So you stayed in town, but you were at the sports desk basically the whole weekend, so you were all over everything. I think we should just start with Alabama in the SEC championship and then move to the college football playoff and then, squeeze in a little basketball. So maybe a longer episode. And look, depending on how long it is, I might break this into 2 episodes today for listenability. Oh, man. Alabama 28-7. Georgia absolutely dominates Alabama up front, and I've got some thoughts, but just open it right up to you. What do you think about Alabama's performance?
Bad. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This was one of the worst Alabama football games I've watched in my time as a student here. I mean, ignoring anything that happened before 2023 here, but just thinking out of our recent memory past couple years. And this was bad. This was atrocious. I mean, that offense was lifeless. What was happening out there? What was happening up front with the offensive line? What was happening with the pass protection? Ty Simpson, he couldn't deliver certain throws. Ryan Grubb, I don't know what we were doing play calling wise. It was just atrocious, and it reminds me so much of that Oklahoma game last year. I mean, that is the clear comparison that jumps to mind as far as what this performance looked like. But man, first of all, Alabama's defense, once again, doing as much as they can with less, getting put in some bad positions. Obviously, 1 touchdown at the end was because you went for it in your own red zone. 1 was a blocked punt, just trying to keep the team in the game, but the other 2 units have no desire to win. We'll talk a lot about the specifics, but yeah, no, it leaves a very bad taste in my mouth.
Oh, absolutely. And people, you're driving home on Saturday night asking if Alabama's still in the playoff. And I thought, I wouldn't blame the College Football Playoff Committee for dropping them all the way out after that. But I think that they looked at the resume and we'll get into that later. Anyways, Alabama's performance was putrid, was absolutely was horrific, honestly. And it all starts up front on the offensive line as Georgia's defensive line really, really swallowed up the offense. And I think that Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann played games with Ty Simpson all night long. Played games with Ty Simpson and Parker Brailsford setting the protections all night long. I mean, I think that did you hear Nick Saban last week talking about Ty Simpson changing the plays?
I did not.
All right, so he basically said, well, Ty's leaving the home position, and he's changing the plays, and then the defense is changing based off his change. So they're showing a look. Ty's making changes, and then they shift into another look. And it's like he and Kirby Smart had a conversation about it because the entire night, Ty's like, oh, they look to my left, X, Y, and Z is happening, and he'll make a check. And then Georgia shifts, and they're making a check off Alabama's check and absolutely manipulating the offensive line and destroying pass protection, destroying run plays. I think that Kirby Smart I think Glenn Schumann baited Ty Simpson into checking into plays that Georgia wanted them to check into, and then, we have the answer when you check. When you check, we know what you're checking into, and we're just going to, now we're ready. The trap is set. Now it's time to spring that trap, and you guys don't really have any answers out of this. Instead of, and look, I don't know what's going on in the huddle as far as play calling and as far as what he's seeing and what his freedom is. Ty's freedom is. I think he has a lot of freedom at the line. But why don't you just come out and run the dang play? Run the play that's called, and see what happens. And can't be much worse. But what I think was happening was largely Parker Brailsford's not healthy, center. But he said he was after the game. But we all know he's not. We've seen him limp around for the last couple of weeks now. Parker, so starting right there, center's not healthy. And so you think, okay, why don't we go to the backup center? Well, the backup center is Gino Vandermark. And Gino Vandermark is healthy, but Gino is playing playing left guard the whole night because Cam Dewberry, starting left guard, is not healthy. And so you're like, well, what do? Do you go to the third string center? Do you go to Joe Ionata? I like Joe Ionata. I like him a lot. But, like, you're going to throw him in there against Georgia with, not very much prep. Like no, you're just not going to do that. And then it's like, well, why don't you play Gino at center and you go to the next left guard? And it's, well, are you going to play Jaden Roberts at left guard when he's been a right guard all year and he's sitting on the bench? Like, maybe that could have been an option. That really could have been an option. Or do you play William Sanders, who's played spot duty at left guard, and just say, Geno Vandermark, you're playing center? I think that all of this, the real crux is Geno Vandermark I don't think is an SEC level player. I think he's a okay player. He's good against bad competition, but when you put elite competition on the other side of him, like the Georgia defensive line and like the Georgia linebacker crew, then you manipulate speed and twist, and you've got his eyes going in different directions, and then you invoke speed to power. I think that he is a below average SEC player. And so what ends up happening is Georgia says, we've got two interior linemen that are, one is hurt and pretty good when he's healthy, but he's hurt. But he's gutting through it. Okay, we're all gutting through it. Both sides of the ball. Georgia had injuries too. I'm not saying that Georgia didn't have injuries, but this in particular, I think, affected Alabama's offense. And so Georgia's looking at two interior offensive linemen that are, one, dinged up and two, less than average. And they say we can manipulate this offensive line into the checks that we want them to go into by showing looks and checking into something else and wrapping, stunting and wrapping, basically, to manipulate the pass protection and to, oh, you guys are slide protecting one way, well, you're opening up a gap the other way. Ty Simpson had pressure in his face the entire night. And while Ty didn't play well, no, he didn't, but he had pressure in his face the entire night. And so Georgia, we're going to manipulate this offensive line. Oh, also, you can't run the ball because you haven't been able to run the ball all year, but now you can't run the ball, especially because you've got a dinged up center and a backup left guard who can't get any push whatsoever. And so you're looking at an offensive line that's inept going up against Georgia's defensive front that's gotten better and better all year long, and they essentially swallow you on offense. You had answers offensively. Ryan Grubb could have called different plays. He could have gone different ways as far as, okay, you saw the one play where he just throw it out to Ryan Williams and just, hey, man, run as fast as you can. And he ended up stepping out of bounds, but he got like 12 yards. It almost was 30 yards if he didn't step out of bounds. And like, you could have leaned on, I think you could have leaned on that button a little more, just mash the Ryan Williams button. But you saw it in the end zone down as they're trying to score. Ty Simpson actually delivers a nice ball to Ryan Williams and goes through his hands. So like that is inconsistent. You don't have consistent play. You're not playing your first and your third string running back. And Kalen DeBoer after the game saying that Daniel Hill, your second string running back, is not healthy, but was gutting it out, going through it. I think AK Deere did what he could, but if you haven't really been using AK all season long and you just throw him right in there, what do you expect the young man to do? AK Deere, 3 carries, 10 yards. 3 carries, 10 yards, and I think he had a catch too. Targeted, didn't have a catch. And so, like, what do you expect this offense to do? You don't have Josh Cuevas, one of your safety valves. Caleb Edwards had a nice little game offensively, but like the offense had no real answers, and Georgia also manipulated them into bad situations by showing looks, then checking into other things. And so it was really, really a frustrating night. And so, like, people I myself was asking, are you going to sub out Ty Simpson, try something else? But what's Austin Mack going to do? What's Keelan Russell going to do when the rush is right in his lap all day long? Like, the only things that Ty could have done differently is see it quicker, anticipate. Like, I think that they called some shots down the field. Like, he missed one to Isaiah Horton with his eyes that Isaiah Horton was breaking open because, like, basically he was seeing the rush. His eyes were too low. We're seeing the rush, was not anticipating, hey, man, I might be able to hit a 40-yard bomb here. Like, you just needed to have a gunslinger just say, bleep it, I'm throwing it up to Isaiah Horton going down the sidelines. Ryan Williams had a double move that was breaking open that Ty just didn't see, ended up taking a sack, I think, or ended up getting a pressure and throwing it out. Like, I think Ty played poorly, but I don't really know what you could have done with him other than saying, hey, man, no matter what, throw this ball right here. And you're never going to do that. You're never going to do that because you're never going to just handcuff your quarterback and say, throw this one pass before on this play, right? That's just not really going to happen. And so it was a really difficult look for Alabama's offense, a really difficult. And now you ended up calling a couple screenplays. You called the middle screen to Jeremy Bernard, who ended up making a play and really getting in the end zone right there. And Jeremy, I thought Jeremy was fine. But when you're dealing with a below average offensive line and you're getting manipulated as well from a strategic standpoint, these two things stack up against you, and I think you saw the result.
Yeah, right. I mean, Glenn Schumann just had a nearly perfect game, nearly flawless, and there wasn't even a coaching battle because Alabama wasn't in it at all. I mean, it was all Georgia. I will say, I think it's particularly fair to single Vandemark out here. While yes, poor performance, we've been playing musical linemen all year. We've been shifting guys away around every possible combination. How much time have we spent on these Mondays reflecting on games, talking about, what combination can we try this week? Have we found the 5? Like, there is no answer. There is no answer with this team that exists right now. I think that's going to fully satisfy us. And I say Dewberry out makes it a lot worse, but it's just there's a lot of flaws on that interior. And, against a team like Georgia, especially, it's just going to shine through. I completely agree with the open field. I think that you have too much talent to not be using it more. Like, with the offense looking the way it was, right, as the game's, entering the second half, I would much rather give the ball to Ryan, give the ball to Jerem, and, let him make some moves. Maybe they get tackled after 2 yards. Maybe it doesn't, you're not moving the ball all the time, but maybe one of them breaks something, right? Like, you have the advantage there in the open field. You don't have the advantage anywhere else on that football field during that game. You're getting beat in every way. You got to go to the one thing that allows your guys' pure talent to shine through. That was very frustrating for me watching that game and not seeing more open field stuff done because it felt like so many good things happened there.
Yeah, and I don't think that. I mean, you didn't have as many. You didn't try. I mean, Georgia was hitting swing passes all night long. Was hitting wide receiver screen kind of the edge passes all night long. My opinion of Gunnar Stockton remains unchanged. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. I think that what he did on Saturday for Georgia was exactly what Mike Bobo. I mean, the Georgia offensive and defensive coordinators ran a masterclass. You say it wasn't much coaching you could have done. I think Frank Grubb could have told Ty Simpson to stop checking into their traps. Basically, stop checking into their traps. We're running this play, buddy. This is the play. If it fails at the line of scrimmage, it fails. But like, they are manipulated. They're trapping you into bad checks. And so I think that's the number one thing I probably would have done is, at least on this series, buddy, hey, we've gone 3 and out like 10 times in a row. On this series, let's just not check. Let's just run the play that's called. How about that? But Mike Bobo, once he realized that Glenn Schumann had Alabama's offense in hell, Mike Bobo basically was, hey, we'll just run the ball. We'll ask Gunnar to make easy throws. I mean, they had Gunnar throwing swing passes, and they had Gunnar throwing screens. They had Gunnar made like 2 nice throws in the entire game. One of them was the touchdown to Dylan Bell. It was a tight window throw in the back of the end zone. And then other than that, was it a flag route coming down the on their 3rd touchdown? I think it was hit a flag route that ultimately ended up as a rushing touchdown a couple plays later. But outside of, he didn't really throw the ball over the middle. He didn't really have to read a defense as far as what coverage are they in, what are we doing here? It was just get the ball out of Gunner's hands, hit the pass that's there, and let the Georgia playmakers do their thing. I thought that Mike Bobo called an incredible game. I mean, once you realize your defense has them, and you have to, no chances. We're not taking any chances. We're not going to ruin this on our side of the ball. We're going to let Nate Frazier run the football, and Nate Frazier was really, really nice in this game. In 13 carries, 52 yards, and a touchdown. Ended up with two catches, 8 yards right there as well. I thought that the Georgia offensive plan was really good, complementing their defensive plan, because they didn't really take any chances and they just allowed Alabama to kind of beat themselves with the 4th and 2, with the blocked punt. And I mean, the blocked punt is inexcusable. I mean, how many?
Yeah.
Where are we at on Football Friday? We're sitting there saying avoid explosive runs. We're sitting here saying avoid explosive runs. What was the 3? Keep tie upright and and not have a special teams error. Well, you did avoid the explosive runs. Chauncey Bowens, his longest run was 19 yards. He had 4 carries. His longest was 19. Nate Frazier, his longest carry was 14. They did have a Dylan Bell 12-yarder. So, like, are any of those explosive? I guess the 19-yarder is explosive, but the others, not as much. I think you got to get over 15 yards to be an explosive run. And I just made that up. But really, I think that you avoided the explosive runs. Chauncey Bowens won 19-yard run. You did not keep Ty Simpson upright for anything. Not at all. He's running for his life the whole night. I think it was 19, 20 pressures. He drops back 39 times, 39 passes. I think it was 20 official pressures for the Georgia Bulldogs. And then you didn't avoid the special teams blow up. Like, you get the punt blocked, and that totally changes the game. You have stopped Georgia twice. You get stopped it was your second time that you were stopped. You went 3 and out or so on the first drive, and then your second drive you end up basically going 3 and out again. And all right, it's fine. It's 0-0. It's no big deal. Everything's, no, the game's still even. We're punting. We're flipping the field positions. No big deal. And boom, punt block. Georgia's lined up on the 20-yard line, and it's, oh, dang, defense. Can you hold them to 3? And basically Bobo says, we're just physicaling this out. We're just going to out physical you. And Georgia used all 53 yards of the field, 53, 55 yards wide of the field. All right. They used every little bit of it, running Alabama's defense sideline to sideline. Alabama didn't do that. They didn't use all 55 yards of the field and use their playmakers. And I guess they got spooked doing that when they tried to give Lazier Brooks, I think it was 3rd and 1 for the 3rd and 1. I think they tried to get Lazier Brooks going onto the outside, and he got stopped for a 1-yard loss. Just dramatically different game plans offensively for Georgia. Very conservative, but very effective, and very kind of very conservative, but effective, and I want to say efficient too. Just like they moved Alabama's eyes all over the field throughout the day, and then they kept punching them in the mouth. Alabama, I don't think you didn't have the ability to punch Georgia in the mouth with the run game. You didn't have the ability to punch them in the mouth in the run game, and you couldn't move their eyes sideline to sidelines using motion and using screens and using space. Georgia could. Georgia did. The block punt is just really, really horrific. Right. And so you get to the post game, Theo. I don't know if you heard with Kalen in post game, but he was asked about the block punt, because I think that's where the game basically just went off a cliff. You had a big special teams error. That was a big haymaker Georgia threw. They finished it with a 7-0, and basically from there it was, oh man, you're on the mat, Alabama, and Georgia didn't let them get off the mat after that. In post game, he says, "Oh, we missed a check. We had a different guy in there because of LT Overton, and it was Caleb Edwards, freshman, right? We missed a check." And so you go back and look at it, and you see 2 guys rushing off the offense's left, the defense's right, and one guy comes free. Cole Spear comes free, and you see, okay, well, Justin Jefferson blocks down. Caleb Edwards takes a middle rusher, and this guy Cole Spears comes free. Nobody comes to him, and he's saying, DeBoer is saying, we missed a check. So to me, you're either saying that I don't know who's calling the protection. Is it Caleb Edwards calling the protection in his first time in that role because he's replacing LT Overton? Like, or why are we asking a freshman to do this? Or is it Marshall Pritchett, who's been out there all year on as personal protector, and 88 Jay Lindsey? So they were still 3 personal protectors. Lindsey and Pritchett have been out there all year. Lindsey, Pritchett, and LT Overton. So LT is out. LT's out, and you sub in Caleb. Are you putting the checking responsibility, calling the protect? Because basically, you get to the line every time for punt protection, and you identify the front, and you say, okay, X, whatever the check is. When I was working for the team, it was New York or LA. It was New York if we're going to the what's that on the map? To the right, and it's LA if you're going to the left, right? If you're looking at the map, right? So if it's LA, your slide protection to the left. If it's New York, your slide protection to the right. Obviously, that was like 4 special teams coordinators ago, so I'm not giving anything away. But like you get to the line and you New York, ready, set. And everybody knows slide protection to the left, slide protection to the right, and man protection to the other side. Basically, you're calling the slide protection. You're calling the zone slide protection. The other side's man on man. And so, is that Caleb Edwards? Is that what we're doing here, Coach? Is that really what Caleb Edwards, who's not been in this position yet this year, gets thrown in to the Georgia for a second punt of the day and calls a check, and whether he calls the wrong check or not, I think it's inexcusable to ask a freshman to do that. Like, can we not just have, yes, Jay Lindsey's a sophomore and Marshall Pritchett also a freshman, but can we not have one of those 2 guys who have been starting as a personal protector all year long do that? Like, who's calling the check here, Coach? And that's the big issue. And so you miss the check, you get the block punt. Credit Georgia. They're rushing in there, and Cole Spears making the play, picking the ball right off Blake Dowd's foot, and Georgia sets it up with a short field. Like, their 4 touchdown drives, Theo, 6.5 plays, 6.75 plays for 32.5 yards. That's the average on their 4 drives. Their 4 touchdown drives. So, like, I don't know what the defense can do when you've got 32 yards behind you, right? You've got 32 yards behind you on average on these touchdown drives. Yeah, there was one that was longer, but the other 3 were like or a hop, skip, and a jump into the end zone. Like, it was not much it could have done, Kane Womack. And so I'm pretty frustrated with the offensive line, and I'm pretty frustrated with especially because you had a pretty nice little punt return as well come back and bite you. You had the only punt return of the day for Zach Branch, ended up with 24 yards on the punt return, sets Georgia up with a short field. They ended up scoring a touchdown. Yeah. Like, the margins are razor thin. You got in the playoff? Okay. Well, guess what? The margins are going to be tiny in the playoffs. You had Tate Sendell kick 3 field goals. You got to pick 6, and you ended up with a big punt return leading to one of those field goals a couple weeks ago right here in Tuscaloosa. We all remember it. You're talking about, if we just don't turn the ball over. Yeah, it's simple as that. But it's even simpler if you don't allow a daggum big punt return to set up a long field goal. You're fine. If you protect the ball and you don't get sacked, fumbled, going to a field goal, you're fine. You've won the game. If Connor Talty makes a short field goal, you've won the game. So this Alabama team is losing in the margins. Yes. Is losing it. Like, we can cry about the offensive line all day, and I'll agree with you. But, like, inside, like, what happens if you just do the simple bleep right? What happens if you just do, hey, we're a winning football team. We catch the punt. We boom the punt. Everybody blocks. We go cover it, right? We go cover it. We get a fair catch, maybe, or we're right there when the guy catches it. You stop. I don't think that stopping Zach Branch's 24-yard punt return is going to change that game, really. But if you don't get a punt blocked, how does the next sequence play out?
Everything is affected because it felt like the teams were going to trade punts for a little while.
Sure.
It would have been much more preferable to what happened. I see no reason why Jay Nunez should keep this job next year. I see no reason why he should be given another chance to run this. It is such a kryptonite for this program. You want to talk about, okay, Connor Talty may not be the best kicker right now. You've lost points there. But stuff like just how consistent these special teams mishaps are even like we saw Talta yelling at his holder. The snaps haven't been great this year.
Sure.
It's been a consistent problem.
And a high snap on the block punt.
Yeah. Like, it's just in a vacuum, isolated incidents, it's not the end of the world every single time, but the way that it is added up has been horrific, and the way that it has come back to cost them in a game like this has been horrific. In a game like Oklahoma, do you have any faith in the special teams to not mess up? Like, it's almost like every single time that unit takes the field, I'm expecting something bad to happen.
Yes, we say, end every drive and a kick. You'll be all right. Will you? Will you? Unless it's an extra point. I mean, the unit has proven they can do an extra point just fine. No missed extra points. Look, if we miss one at Oklahoma, that's going to exactly no missed extra points all year long. It doesn't matter. They've subbed in different kickers against Eastern Illinois and different long snappers, in these high school games. And so, like, the whole unit has proven they've mastered the extra point. Great job, guys. But it starts right there. Like, the Georgia. Okay, what happens if you boom that punt blade down and you go cover it, and Georgia's starting their next drive from their own 40? You got 60 yards behind you, defense. Does Mike Bobo's conservative game plan get him 20 yards, 25 yards, and they're trying a long field goal, or they're punting, or they've got a decision to make on 4th and 1, 4th and 2?
And mind you, our defense has a great ability to create havoc plays.
Right.
On that note, you think about, you took away the opportunity for your own defense to create a game-wrecking play.
It's the margins are killing this team, and the margins are why they were on the bubble, because goodness gracious, just infuriating, honestly, because you got to call out the right punt protection, and whether and like, yeah, we can say, well, you know, it's all Caleb Edwards' fault. We don't know that. I don't know who's calling out the protection, but for coach to say we got a new face in there and we missed a check, well, that makes me think it's Caleb Edwards and the only new face in there. And we're not checking. We're not making the right check. We're not counting the right numbers up front. Georgia has eight guys up front. Usually they didn't, and we weren't ready for that. Like, it's like the preparation is just not. Hey, we've seen all this on film. We're ready for it. Oh shoot, they're showing us something new. We can't use our brains and just infuriating. And so my biggest issue with this team right now is the offensive line, and is the special teams, because I think that they crippled you on Saturday in Mercedes-Benz, and I don't really know what they're going to do next Friday night out in Norman. I think there's a chance. Like, you put up 400 yards against Oklahoma, there's a chance that everything could go fine. You don't turn the football over and everything's fine, and you end up winning the game by 10 points. But because their offense didn't, like, Georgia's offense didn't particularly impress me, other than, they were really physical with Alabama. There was a couple moments where Georgia had a run. Okay, it stopped for 4 yards. Oh, it's going 8 yards. It's going 9 yards. And, like, some of that's pretty frustrating to watch. But when the defense is on the field as much as it was, like, it's inevitable. And so I still am in the camp that I think Kane Womack's defense is pretty dang strong throughout the game. What do you think the time? Have you seen the time of possession number from Saturday? I had an inkling, but now that I've looked at it, I'm correct.
Is Georgia over 40?
Almost. Well,
I'd guess it'd be real close.
The difference, it's 16 minutes in difference. Georgia 36-52, so basically 37 minutes, right? And Alabama 23-08. It's 14 15 minutes of difference that the Alabama defense is on the field just getting punched in the mouth over and over and over and over again. And so what do you expect is going to happen? Oh, they're pushing Alabama around. They're pushing Alabama. Like, you've got to play at least even here to give the defense a chance. You can't put them in bad field position and leave them on the field all night long and expect them to. Well, why didn't you come up with a turnover? Why didn't you stop them?
Like, you look at that. All right, so that last touchdown Georgia scored, that Zechariah Branch, I believe that was a third down where Alabama technically could have gotten off the field. Those guys are gassed. they've been running around all day. It's
Yeah, and he finds
agree.
like 7 yards or whatever and gets in the end zone.
Yeah.
Like 12 yards and gets in the end zone. Scoring plays. Let's see what that actually was. Yeah, 13-yard reception. They find Georgia finds their most electric player on offense, their version of Ryan Williams, and says, "Hey, there's a little gap. Can you squirt right through there?" I mean, they were smacking him at the goal line as he was going into the end zone.
Yep.
But everybody's just running ragged. My eyes have been going left to right all night long and getting punched in the mouth all night long. Hey, Mike Bobo, I thought, called a great game. I don't think Ryan Grubb called a great game at all. I think Ryan Grubb called a pretty pathetic game. I thought Kane Womack did mostly good.
I think it's hard to criticize Womack. We're the defense, with the position they've been put in. We've talked so much about how they've done so much with so little this year, but Ryan Grubb's stock just continues to fall in my eyes.
People would say -3 yards rushing, and you're right to focus on that. Let's take the sacks out. Does it get much better, Theo? Do you know what the sack adjusted rushing yardage is?
I'm curious.
Guess any number, and we'll throw it out there. How many yards did Alabama truly rush for when you take out the sacks?
Like 30.
You have more faith in them than they actually did. 20 yards. 20 damn yards. Daniel Hill, 4 carries, 11 yards. A.K. Deere, 7 carries, 10 yards. Ryan, I guess that got 1 carry, 5 yards. Lazier, 1 carry, no yards. And then Ty Simpson, all his sack yardage totaled up -28 yards. You finish with -3 yards rushing.
Nice.
Horrible. Like, what are we like? When has an Alabama football team not been able to run the ball? Like, last year wasn't great when you're running with the running backs. Jalen Milroe saved all those numbers, but last year wasn't great. Like, you've had 2 years. Like, I am pretty still pro on the staff as a whole. I really like Kalen DeBoer. I really like Kane Womack. I really like a lot of the coaches that are in the building. But that's been a major issue. Like, you can't run the ball in a traditional sense. And I think that we've seen online rumors. I think that you are seeing the last days of Chris Kapilovich on the staff.
Yes, yeah, I've seen some stuff there as well, and he did seem like he's been a really good guy every time I've talked.
Seems nice, absolutely.
He is. I enjoyed the
good man
abilities last year. We got to hear from him, but it is just not. It is not performing at the level that it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard people talking even about Gillespie too, RB coach.
I don't think it's Robert Gillespie. I think he's still coaching at a high level, and I think his unit's largely performing as well as they can given the landscape. Hey man, you want to run right in the back of this, right into this 1 yard hole? That the offensive line just neutral. Like, the best you can expect right now with this offensive line is, can you neutralize the defense? You're not getting any push. You're not getting any holes. It's, can you just stalemate the defense?
Yeah, right. That is the best case scenario. I don't know.
I think the offensive line is horrific. I think the offensive line is horrific as a whole. And maybe I'm just like stuck in recency bias from watching Saturday, because somebody was like, yeah, Joe, they have improved the year. Because I was pretty hot on Saturday night saying, if Alabama gets left out of the playoffs, it's the offensive line's fault. Because you look back to all the way back to August, and you're losing to Florida State, and Ty Simpson's getting sacked, and Ty Simpson's getting rushed. I think that you've got major, like, you didn't really have it. Like, you rushed the first drive of the season. You actually did run the football well, but then basically couldn't run the ball the rest of the game against Florida State. You couldn't run the ball against Wisconsin. Who cares what you did against ULM? You ended up rushing the ball. Your best numbers are like 158 against Auburn and 142 against Vanderbilt. Yeah, the Auburn defense is good, but who cares about the rest of that? Like, you cannot run the football consistently. And Alabama, I don't really like the that's not Alabama football kind of like usual take that, but running the football is essential to playing in the SEC. Yeah. It just is.
No, the O-line is bad. I don't think you're overreacting at all there. We've seriously talked about it a million times. I feel like I'm repeating myself.
That's fine.
I
Repeat
feel like-
yourself. We got new listeners.
I feel like we could make a supercut of all the times we said this exact same thing over the course of the season, and it would just sound the same so often. Because it is the same thing with this football team. There's a comment about Freddie Roach also on the line, and he was, I think, an early target where people were really talking about him, like, "Whoa, what happened here?" Against FSU earlier in the year. I'm a little higher on them. You're playing shorthanded. I don't have a big problem.
I think Tim Keenan had a really nice game.
Yeah, I mean, he was obviously taking advantage of not having Bobo in the center for Georgia, but he was.
I think London Simmons has played well as well.
Yeah, I don't have much of a problem with the D-line.
I think LT Overton's been just above average all year long, so I'm not really that thrilled with him. I think Edric Hill has been okay. Jordan Renaud played well, I thought, in LT's stead. Big thanks to Corey Lewis for watching and commenting 89, 84. I don't think you're going to see any moves with Freddie Roach. Freddie, I think, is a extremely strong recruiter, and I do think the defensive line, while it hasn't, you don't have any Quinnen Williamses out there. I think that it's not been the detriment to me. I think the big detriments were the health of the inside linebackers early in the season, and that has improved through the year. You would like more of a pass rush. You'd like more of a finish, absolutely more of a finish. But I think you're getting that with Quay and Yanzi Pierre. But Gunner didn't give you any opportunity to do that because it was basically the three-step drop, pass the ball out. It wasn't any time where they were holding the ball. So I'm not as ready to be out on any defensive line issue. The offensive line to me has been just a mess. I don't really think they've improved since August. I think you just rotated guys in there and gotten a little more experience, but you've also been mitigating some injuries. I don't think they've improved really one iota to me.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's just about everything there is to say here, right? I mean,
well, you want to go to the voicemail line? We've done the SEC championship. You got any other thoughts on the SEC championship? Because these guys are about to rant about this game. I think.
No, I've got nothing. Let's let Dax and everyone talk. I think they deserve to vent here.
Absolutely. So you guys can call us on the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800 on the voicemail line. These are all our friends.
What's up, guys? It is depressed Dax here. I guess I eventually had to go to a Bama game where we lost. I just didn't expect it to be the worst Bama game that we've played since I became a freaking Alabama fan. We had -1 rushing yards. Every time Ryan Williams touched the ball, which was 3, he acted like he was the only one wanting to win the game. Why did we stop going to Ryan? No clue. I thought we got prime Ryan back. Mason, I'm sorry for talking bad about you, talking bad about Ty Simpson. I guess we were both right about him being in this season. Like, how do you go from being a Heisman frontrunner to, like, losing every bit of your draft stock in one season? How? Bro was the October Heisman, and now I'm not even sure he's a 6th rounder. You know how many times we wanted to bench Ty tonight? Because who cares if the other quarterbacks aren't ready? You don't know if they're not ready. Nick Saban didn't know if Tua was ready to go in that freaking national championship game when he replaced Jalen with him. And guess what Tua did? Lit a spark under our offense. Why did Ty never come out for one drive? We had one good drive. It was 91 yards, and Ty is literally the check down team, dude. Holy crap. Ty wasn't even – we had so many guys streaking down the field wide open the whole game, and Ty didn't throw it to a single one of them until that one scoring drive we had that was 91 yards. Ty decided to start letting them fly because Georgia didn't respect their deep ball, and it was very obvious. So the second that Ty starts letting the deep ball fly, Georgia kind of has to back off a little bit. Then we had a little tunnel screen to Jeremy, and he breaks some freaking tackles. That was a beautiful play by Jeremy. I wouldn't blame Ryan if he wanted to transfer. I'm going to be completely honest with you because we did not use him at all, and he was actually having a great game to start off. The O-line, I mean, lost continuity because Cam Dewberry got injured, and then like they weren't protecting Ty the best, but like Ty was not. He was playing so scared. I remember one play he was supposed to hand it off to the running back, and the running back, I don't know, his AKD, I think, didn't go along with the right play. Ty freaked out and just hit the ground, took a slide 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and then 3rd and like 20 after that. I'm like, and then there was a blatant face mask where they ripped Lotzer's helmet off on a kick return. The refs, right in front of the refs, they didn't call it. And then the one play where we had a false start, and then the Georgia, that is one of the linebackers or one of their defensive linemen, broke through the line and shoved Ty to the ground way after the play was dead. How is that not unnecessary roughness? The only reason we started getting calls at the end is because Ty actually started throwing the deep ball. That's the only reason. Holy crap. That was an ugly game. That was pitiful. I don't even want to, we do not deserve to be in the playoffs. We are Cheez-It Bowl bound. We're going to, who's feeling the cheesiest? Ryan Grubb is. The play calling was freaking bad. I don't think it was the play calling. Like the route development was obviously not the best, but Ty was his first read was the check down. Ty knew he was going to throw it to the check down like 90% of snaps. We had -1 rushing yards. We rushed for -0.2 rushing yards per play. Yards per carry. -0.2. Dude, that was disgusting. And holy crap, those Georgia fans acted like they had never beat anybody in their entire life tonight. Oh, dude, they were very frustrating to deal with after that one. I mean, I stayed till about a minute when they got in victory formation. That's when I left because I support my team and I love my Crimson Tide. But Ty Simpson, you have one more game left. And he's definitely not going to the draft. I still want Keelan next year or Austin Mack. They both look really good. I'm sorry, Ty. I'm off the Ty train after that abysmal poo-poo. That was bad. That was really bad. He needed to be taken out of that game. Really badly. Bro was playing very scared. I'm sorry, Ty. I love you, but that was not good.
He's going to call back.
Apparently there's a time limit on the voicemails, so here's following up that first one. The defense is where I left off. Defense wasn't playing bad. Nope, we just kept giving it to Georgia with really good field position. Their punter kept putting us inside the 10-yard line, and we kept giving it to them at like the 30, 35 every time. Because 3 and out, first down, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Touchdown, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. It felt like. That's what it felt like. It felt like we were losing 35-0 at halftime. We couldn't get any momentum to save our lives. And I feel like the defense was really trying to save that game by getting a turnover in the second half, which is why they kind of got gashed a little bit. And I'm not blaming the defense at all. They played their butts off. Damani Jackson made up for everything tonight. Damani Jackson was playing really good ball. Ray Hubbard was. Then again, we were letting people wide open all night, especially that's in the freaking flat. Gunnar Stockton would just roll out and throw it to a tight end or run it back in the flat, and there was just nobody there. 8 yards, 8 yards, 8 yards, 8 yards. It's abysmal showing on all sides. Again, the defense, they couldn't help it. They couldn't help it. We got down 14-0 very fast, and I don't even know, man. I don't know. That was bad. And I hope we can do good in the Cheez-It Bowl because we're not going to the playoffs after that one. I don't want to be in the playoffs. We don't deserve it after that. That was bad. I don't know. I'm gonna go. I don't know. Good night, boys. I love you and Roll Tide.
That's Dax on the voicemail line, and you can join us on the voicemail line at 205-462-7340. There's more voicemail lines, but we just need to give everyone the right time. Theo.
Yeah, I mean, what a turnaround from Dax. I mean, from where we were at the beginning of the season with Ty, with calling Mason out all the time for his Ty Simpson takes to I'm out on Ty Simpson, man.
Future Oregon State quarterback?
Don't say that. Nah, I mean, this is.
He's right, though. He was not seeing the field well.
Yeah, he wasn't. The more you talked last week about, you're hearing whispers about Ty injury, possibly something with the back.
I heard more
I've
this
started to hear stuff too. And remind you, any sources that I have, they're far behind yours. So if it's trickling down like this, there's something going on.
I've heard herniated disc in the back. And to me, if he, because Dax is correct, and I saw Dax's seat. Dax got a good seat where he could see the whole field. He was watching the all 22 from the top, and there were, hey man, if you just see it and rip it and throw this ball down the field, maybe there's a chance. Like there's some explosive plays out here. You're just freak, you're just not trusting yourself, hesitating, and then becoming the check down king.
With all that being said, I completely wholeheartedly disagree with the idea of putting someone else in the game there.
Sure.
I think you can talk about, Saban, he made that move, right? Everyone loves to go back to that. Fans of any team, anytime a QB is struggling, like to use that as the example for why we need to pull this guy. I don't think there is a Tua Tagovailoa sitting on this bench.
Maybe there is, but keep going, and I'll tell you why not.
I think that, yes, Keelan and/or Austin Mack can be a very good player next year. I have there's nothing to me to suggest that either of them, first of all, has the ability to step in right now and get things done with where they're at development-wise. Second of all, that they would do any better than Ty with the aforementioned offensive line problems, with all of the just chaos around them on the field in this point in the season. Like, I have a hard time believing that we would get anything better than Ty. I have a hard time believing that the play wouldn't even further fall off a cliff.
The difference is that Coach Saban played Tua a lot that season. Played him a lot in fourth quarters. Now, Alabama was beating people's brains in, but played Tua a lot in fourth quarter. So by the time he made that switch, I think he had a pretty good idea of how Tua was going to react in that game. Now, Keelan and Austin, I think they've got a lot of talent, but you've barely seen them this year. Yeah. And maybe they're playing lights out in practice, or maybe they're playing like bozos in practice. None of us know that. Corey Lewis, I really appreciate you watching the show so faithfully, and said just to give us a spark, not to bench him. Maybe you throw him in for a series or two just to let Ty take a deep breath. Maybe. I think really maybe that's not a bad suggestion.
I don't agree.
But as far as like people like to use exactly Coach Saban threw Tua in there, and like Coach Saban's the GOAT, but Coach Saban had been just feeding Tua time in the offense. I mean, he played that whole daggone fourth quarter against Vanderbilt that year that Alabama was up like 50-something-0. He played pretty much a lot of the fourth quarters. So I think Coach Saban kind of knew what he had in him. And yeah, Keelan looked good against ULM, and looked fine. Austin Mack looked really good against Eastern Illinois, but neither of them played against higher level competition all year.
Did Austin Mack get a drive or two against Wisconsin, or no?
I don't remember that far back.
Like that would be the one time where he maybe saw that's 4 months ago against a bad Big Ten team. Maybe. I don't even remember if he played. No, I agree.
All right, so the other thing I wanted to comment on with Dax talking about the Georgia fans and how they acted like they had never won a game in their life. This is for my mom and dad and for most of my family who are Georgia fans. The sound that I heard sitting in the press box, open air press box, the sound was visceral. It was like this guttural release of years of pain. Like, what's the record? It's 10-1 or something. Now it's 10-2, right? For the last 11 meetings with Georgia, it was like an exorcism, honestly, of just so good we could finally beat them. It's like 2021 didn't even happen, winning in Indianapolis. And now, obviously, people, the trip to Atlanta is a lot easier than the trip to Indianapolis. National championship tickets, price-wise, versus SEC championship tickets, price-wise. But and look, this was the first time that that Georgia had beaten Alabama in the SEC championship. Alabama was 4-0. We going up into to this, going back to 2012, right? 2012, and then three most recent here in Atlanta. It was deep emotion, and it was loud. It was loud right from the jump. We got to be on the field during warmups, and the Georgia fans, every time the Alabama folks were on the field, it was loud boos. And I thought, wow, there's a lot of Georgia people in here. And I guess, not a lot of Alabama fans there, or not very vocal Alabama fans there. There was only one after the touchdown. You gotta Alabama. For just a little bit, but it was light and it was faint, and it wasn't like the Georgia UGA. Like they were the emotions. And you got to give it to them a little bit. I'm not really condemning the Georgia fans for feeling that way, because it has been years of pain and years of torment in this game, and years of pain and torment against Alabama. I had a Georgia fan friend the other day on Sunday being like, man, I was feeling so happy about that game because I thought we knocked y'all out of the playoff. Because we didn't knock you out of the playoff, it's not as fun to me. It's not as good to me. And I'm like, yeah, enjoy the SEC championship win. But the sound was just really, it wasn't normal cheering to me. Now, I don't think that they were I didn't have any bad experiences because we were obviously removed from the general public. Sorry, Dax. But like the sound that I heard in the press box was deep, guttural, visceral emotion. And so I was it was just something to note. I was like, these folks are really enjoying this. It's really means something. Like people say, oh, the SEC championship doesn't mean anything anymore. Oh, it meant something to the people in Mercedes-Benz. They were begging another touchdown, keep them down, another 3 and out, keep them down. They were begging for Alabama pain, and they were getting it.
They got a lot of it.
They got it for sure. So I understood there. Like, look, yesterday I was sitting there hoping that the Bears would pull it off. I was feeling the same pain. Obviously, the Packers won, more pain for me. But like, I can relate a little bit to one team beating you down over years and years and years. And so I understand how emotional the Georgia fans were. Let's keep going on the voicemail line. We got 2 or 3 more. You can call us at 205-462-7340, extension 800.
Listen here, Mr. Gaither. I think I'm a more forgiving fan than most. All right? There's 2 aspects of this game that I cannot forgive, and there's only 2. All right? The 2 aspects of this game I cannot forgive. All right? I can forgive that you lost to Kirby Smart, one of the greatest coaches to walk the sideline. I know Nick Saban just left Tuscaloosa, but one of the greatest coaches to walk the sideline and a direct disciple of his. Okay? I can forgive that you lost to Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann. All right? You're familiar with Mr. Schumann, all right? He's a damn good ball coach. I can forgive that you lost to those guys the second time you played them in a season. They're elite coaches. It's tough to beat people twice, especially when they're coached by Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann. All right? What I cannot forgive, Mr. Gaither, is that it looked like you made no effort to change your game plan from what I saw until it was already too late. It looked like until it was already too late, you were unwilling to do anything that showed a hint of desperation. All right? It looked like you were unwilling to do anything that came up as a modicum of creativity. All right? It looked like you were afraid to do anything that deviated from the scripture you had prescribed on Wednesday, or whatever the hell day of the week it is that you come up with your game plan for the SEC championship game. It looked like you were unwilling to make adjustments on the fly. And let me tell you something, Mr. Gaither. You ain't never going to win ball games unless you can play some jazz music. All right? Secondly,
improvise.
And this is, I cannot overstate it, the most important thing I cannot forgive. You showed that on my grandmother's 90th birthday. A woman born in Birmingham, raised in Uniontown, and now residing in Lillian. It's her 90th daggum birthday. And that's the product you put on her television. That's what I had to defend when I was telling her, congratulations on being properly daggum old. That's about all I had to say on that matter.
Happy birthday to her, by the way.
Yes, happy birthday.
But he's right. No mix it up. No improvisation. His reference to jazz music is exactly right. Hey, this isn't working. Maybe we should roll the dice and mix something up. All right, let's keep going. 205-462-7340, extension 800.
What's going on, guys? Cam here. Man, what a performance that was last night. Yeah, this is obviously before the selection show, but I'm going to go ahead and say I don't see Alabama making it in. I feel like they played their way out of it by the way they played last night. They're probably more than likely going to put Miami and Notre Dame in just to put that to bed. But they can't blame anyone but themselves. They did it. They did it themselves like they did last year, played themselves out of the playoff. Just keep it somewhat competitive and couldn't even do that.
Yep.
But I'm going to go ahead and make a public apology to a Mr. Mason Woods. Mason, the take on Ty Simpson you had this year was spot on, and I was wrong, so I apologize. And honestly, I think he kind of played himself out of being a first-round draft pick, which makes me think he's going to want to come back his senior year. And what does that mean for, our talented young quarterbacks? Is, are they going to play Ty next year, or tell them, like, hey, you might want to go hit the portal, or tell them just to go to the draft anyway, just to get our young studs that we have on the bench that honestly could have gave us a better chance to win last night, in my opinion, because Ty just couldn't seem to get anything done. But still looking forward to seeing what happens for the selection show. I'm hoping we get in, but I don't think we deserve to be in. But it is what it is. But roll Tide anyway, and I'll enjoy the show.
Cam on the voicemail line. Cam, always appreciate you calling and watching them and being part of the show. I'm making sure that Mason hears the show today. Usually when he's at Home Depot, it's hit or miss on Mondays. Golly.
We
nightmare scenario if Ty comes back. Go ahead.
We talked about this hypothetical at the beginning of the year. What if Ty shows enough, a lot of good things, but not enough to be a first high pick? And you're in this kind of gray area where do you want him starting next year?
Hell no, I don't want to start next year. I want Austin Mack or Keelan Russell to start next year.
I look at what Ty Simpson did this year, right? And I look at the positives from the beginning of the season. And I look at this guy who was being viewed as a potential top 10 pick. A guy who, let's be real, entering the Georgia game, if he had gone out and he'd had a big game, he could have been a Heisman finalist still. I think there's a lot of good in what Ty Simpson has done. And I also think there's a ton of talent coming in to the quarterback room in Alabama. I think that if we're trying to establish yourself, the program that you are, right? The program that rewards loyalty, a program that is for the players, you can't force Ty Simpson out, I believe. I don't agree with that idea. And I also, at the end of the day, believe that Ty Simpson, very conceivably with another year to grow and develop, could come out and be a much improved quarterback in a hypothetical where he comes back next year. So I think that telling a guy, no, you have to transfer out, because this is going to be the take that you see a lot of
Jamarcus Shepard will take you.
Jamarcus Shepard would. But I do not agree.
Corvallis is nice.
I do not agree with the take that I know we're going to see a lot with fans saying, oh, this guy's got to transfer out because we have to worry about like getting Keelan Russell in the game. We can't lose Keelan. You have Jet Tamala. You have the QB from Thompson.
You need to put on Keelan's huddle tape again. You need to watch him.
No, I'm not saying that Keelan is not an extremely good player who will probably play some very, very good college football.
Jaden Daniels Jr.
What I'm saying is that you have the talent everywhere here. And I don't think that setting the precedent of, yeah, we're a program that forces our guys out. I don't think that's going to go in a good direction. I don't think that'll end well. I think that will start to fundamentally change a program. I think that Ty Simpson is still a leader who is very respected and liked by his teammates. And, we're playing pure hypothetical
They'll
here.
move on. They'll like Austin Mack.
We are playing pure hypotheticals because there is still a chance that we can see Ty Simpson go in the draft, right?
Rip it up, baby. Come on, rip it up in Norman. Another 400-yard performance in Norman. Get yourself back in the boards.
All it takes is one game where he reminds people of what he did, and then scouts. I mean,
rip it up in Norman, then go duel Fernando Mendoza for that number 1 pick out in California.
Yeah, you just look at how bad some of the QBs who've been drafted in the first round are. Yeah, Tyler Shuck was drafted in the second last year. Ty Simpson's about 5 years younger than he was. Like, Ty could still get a very good contract to play pro football, and he might go do that.
Go rip it up in Norman, out-duel Fernando Mendoza, come back to the Peach Bowl, take Alabama on a wild ride, and then go be the number 1 overall pick.
And, Joe, if he doesn't do that, if things do fall off, and if Ty continues to play at the level he's been playing at, we're probably going to have this debate a lot more. But I'm telling you, I'm going to probably be pretty firm in this stance. I'm excited to see how that conversation develops, but I think that people need to be very mindful about telling a leader, a QB, a guy who you were all so closely behind just a couple weeks ago, to tell him to just get out of here. I'm not a fan of that, but that's a conversation for another day.
I mean, Alabama can play with the winner of Texas Tech and Oregon, right? In the Peach Bowl, right here. You bring Oregon over.
Are we just looking past Indiana?
No. I'm just saying, like, the path to being historic is not.
It isn't bad.
Wild. It's not. I mean, it's gonna be hard. Indiana's a good team. Indiana's a really good team. I mean, golly, Signetti. He's a madman coach. He is a great coach.
The guy did not smile.
He is a great coach. And let me tell you, Kirk Signetti, a chance to play Alabama, he will relish that because Coach Saban basically told him, "You're not a head coach. You're not. You got to go. Go to a lower level and prove yourself." Coach Saban, from what I know, kind of burned him a little bit. And I think that lit a fire in him that is still been unquenched. And for him to get a chance to play Alabama in a Rose Bowl, that's going to be a tall task. But talent-wise, you're basically even there. Oh, Ty Simpson. Just go to Norman. Don't turn the football over. Let's get to the Rose Bowl. You can outduel Fernando Mendoza, and you can take on Dante Moore or Texas Tech's great defense, and then you get yourself either a third round 3 with Georgia, or you and Julian Sand, the old Alabama quarterback, could go head to head for a national championship.
Well, no, that'd be crazy. That would be. It's Norman, L.A., Rose Bowl, Georgia, Miami.
Yeah, right? you got Norman, you got Rose Bowl with Indiana, and then Peach Bowl, Atlanta, with winner of Texas Tech and Oregon. And
JMU.
Yeah, get out of here. And then Miami with probably Ohio State or Georgia.
Why are we disrespecting the Dukes, Joe?
Because we have brains and we have eyes. There is no chance that they go out to Oregon and win. They're going to have their brains splattered all over the field in Eugene. Like, we'll get out of here with the DEI stuff, and we'll get into the college football playoff. I think we have one more voicemail here from our friend Hunter.
All right. 9 seed. I like it. In fact, I love it. That's about as an advantageous of a path as Alabama could hope for. I feel like they're in a great position to beat Oklahoma, get revenge on them, Indiana, take your chances. I feel like the top 4 teams are kind of in the same boat, really good defensively. Offensively, hit or miss. It sputters at times. It's good at times. Honestly, all in all, good draw for Alabama. But I just want to clear up some things, Joe. I made a post on Facebook. I was like, I agree with your rankings and everything. And then I followed it up with, if Alabama's not going to move for losing and getting embarrassed by Georgia, and Georgia's not going to move up for the dominant win they had against Alabama, avenging their loss in the regular season, what's the point of playing the game? And I get it, play for a trophy. They've been playing for a trophy since 1992. I get it. And I'm fine with that. That's not really the point I'm making. It's that the committee treated the game like it was obsolete and did not reward said team for winning, and they did not punish said team for losing. That was the only game all week where the winner and loser did not move positions at all. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, and I don't think that going forward you need to set that precedent. The SEC is the best conference and has been called the best conference in football for years on end now, and to just have that game where a team dominates another team and then the rankings, there's no change at all whatsoever, it's just baffling to me. It's puzzling. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. I don't understand. But, you know, it is what it is. Alabama 9 seed. You really can't argue with that much. I like it. But still really, I guess, confused that one team wins. Like I said, they don't go up in the rankings. Alabama, they get dominated. They don't move down. It is what it is, and we move past it.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.